Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to True Roots Training, where I share all things naturopathic and holistic pertaining to fitness, nutrition, and motherhood. Today I want to talk about gestational diabetes and the glucose tolerance test, as well as my personal experience of self-testing at home and what I eat in a typical week. Before I get into that, I want to talk about what gestational diabetes is, how it's tested, the risks involved, and treatment. Gestational diabetes mellitus, or GDM, mellitus being a disorder of carbohydrate metabolism, is basically diabetes that's developed during pregnancy. Between 24 and 28 weeks of pregnancy, the placenta starts to produce a hormone called human placenta lactogen, which is a hormone that helps to regulate mommy and baby's metabolism. One effect of this hormone is that it can make the mother mildly insulin resistant, which can sometimes turn into diabetes. About 7% of women in the United States are diagnosed with it. However, it generally clears up on its own postpartum. Some of the risks include increasing your risk of getting diabetes later in life, as well as increasing your child's risk of childhood obesity as well as diabetes. At birth, the baby's blood sugar can closely resemble that of the mother, which can lead to further interventions, such as IV glucose fluids or even admittance into the NICU. Also, babies can grow larger. As a result to the influx of insulin, they'll tend to store fat primarily in the shoulders and the abdomen, which can lead to more difficulties during birth and even potentially injure the baby. Screening for gestational diabetes, otherwise known as the glucose tolerance test, is typically conducted between 24 and 28 weeks when the human placenta lactogen hormone is at its highest. The standard procedure is that they'll have you fast for 8 to 14 hours prior to coming in. Once you're at the doctor, they'll have you consume a 50-gram, 8-ounce glucose drink, in which you'll wait about an hour, and then they'll test your blood sugar. If you're 140 or below, you pass. If you're above 140, they'll usually have you come back in for what is known as the 3-hour glucose tolerance test, where the same process is repeated. However, this time you wait for 3 hours before having your blood sugar tested again. There are two types of gestational diabetes diagnoses: GDM-A1, which is diet and exercise controlled, and GDM-A2, which is insulin controlled. If you are diagnosed with GDM-A1, they'll typically send you to a program where you're going to learn dietary and lifestyle alterations to help mitigate that. Along with that program, you'll be testing your blood sugar at home with a glucose monitoring kit 4 times a day to track your blood sugar levels throughout the process. If you are diagnosed with GDM-A2, then likely your doctor will prescribe you with insulin injections that you'll have to take for the duration of your pregnancy, as well as self-monitoring at home. As far as the self-monitoring goes, you take your blood sugar 4 times a day, your fasting blood sugar in the morning, and then an hour after each meal. Your fasting blood sugar should be 90 or below, and your post-meal glucose level should be 130 or below. Now that you know all the essential information about gestational diabetes and the glucose tolerance test, I want to go over some of these ingredients in the glucose drink, because I believe every pregnant woman should be well aware of this in order to make an informed decision on whether or not they want to drink this. All right, I'm going to read from my iPad. Forgive me if I mispronounce anything here. Brominated vegetable oil, BVO, contains bromine, which is patented as a flame retardant. Bromine has the potential to bioaccumulate in the body and is toxic to the endocrine system. It is banned as a food additive in Europe, Japan, and India. Flame retardants can have negative health effects, including infertility, miscarriage, preterm birth, and neurodevelopmental impairment. Dextrose, derived from genetically modified Bt corn. It is genetically modified to help corn plants synthesize their bacterial protein to kill pests. It is categorized as a pesticide by the EPA. Red dye number 40 and yellow dye number 6. Food dyes have been associated with attention deficit and hyperactivity symptoms in children, also migraines and allergic responses. They may contain benzidine, a human and animal carcinogen. Studies in rats showed that food dyes activate the immune system and accelerate the production of adrenal and testicular tumors. Butylated hydroxyanosole, or BHA, a food preservative and is considered a potential human carcinogen based on evidence in experimental animals. In 1990, BHA was listed as a chemical known to the state of California to cause cancer under the Safe Drinking Water and Toxic Enforcement Act of 1986. Sodium benzoate, a preservative used in processed foods and beverages to extend shelf life. Studies suggest that sodium benzoate may increase your risk of inflammation, oxidative stress, obesity, ADHD, and allergies. It may also convert to benzene, a potential carcinogen. Sodium hexametaphosphate, or SHMP, is found in foods as a sequestrant, thickener, and emulsifier. It is also typically used in cosmetics and oral care as a corrosion inhibitor. In acute studies, rabbits fed 10% of this had pale and swollen kidneys. BPA, a chemical found in plastic packaging with reported adverse associations such as infertility, miscarriage, and neurodevelopmental impairment. So that's just a few of some of the ingredients in the glucose drink. Not only that, it's loaded with 50 grams of sugar that you're supposed to consume in 5 minutes or less. Now, to me, that doesn't sound like a very natural thing to do. I am a huge advocate of doing things all natural. And especially being pregnant right now, I want to take the utmost special care of my body, not only for the health of my baby, but for my well-being as well. So for those reasons, I personally decided to opt out of drinking the glucose drink, and instead my clinic allowed me to do the self-monitoring at home for 4 times a day for 2 weeks. So I decided to document my experience as well as the foods that I eat that affected my blood sugar, either for better or for worse. And I found it to be extremely educational. Now, I did do this with my first pregnancy, and so I was very familiar with the process. Last time, my blood sugar levels were much lower. And I think a big reason for that was that I was exercising and weight training very regularly. Whereas this time around, this pregnancy, I've been super tired, plus taking care of a toddler as it is. I just have not been working out anywhere near the amount that I would like to be. And so I feel like my blood sugar levels were a little bit higher for that reason, but I also was just coming down from the holidays, so there could be that. Regardless, I was overall pretty satisfied with my results, and ultimately I did pass. I only shot 1 week of testing because my diet was virtually the same the following week. I do want to point out that I implemented some hacks that I was kind of testing out that first week into the second week just to compare, and sure enough, my blood sugar levels were much lower that second week around, and I do think it was attributed to these hacks, which I will share with you at the end of the video. So if you're someone that is interested in pursuing this alternative testing method, this is a great video for you to watch to see how the process goes, what it's like. Now, everyone's body is different, but it's really interesting to see how certain foods that maybe you least expected would trigger a high blood sugar spike. All right, you guys, without further ado, here's my personal experience with at-home glucose monitoring. So it's morning number 1. I'm using a Care Touch kit. It comes in this small little pouch. It's really great for travel and taking with you wherever you go. So just to go over everything that's in here, we have the testing strips here, the digital monitor, the injector, we have the lancets, and little alcohol swabs. So my hands are clean right now, so I'm not gonna swab, but I'm gonna go ahead and do my morning fasting glucose. So I start by putting a testing strip into the digital monitor, and that's going to turn it on. It's going to beep, letting you know that it's ready. I'm gonna take the injector, unscrew the cap, and thanks, honey. Put in the lancet, gently take off
the protective cap over the needle. Screw the cap back on. Now on here there are numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I go for level 10. What this indicates is the level of penetration of the lancet into the skin. So 2 or 4 is going to be for someone who's either elderly or perhaps a child with thinner skin. So I go for the 10 to ensure a proper penetration. So go ahead and cock it when you're ready to go. Choose a finger, any finger, lance, a little pressure maybe to get some of that blood out. Just a little dab onto the end of the testing strip. It'll do a countdown after it beeps, and then it'll show you your fasting glucose here on the screen. And then once you're all done with that, you can flip it over, dispense of the strip, unscrew the cap. There's a little slidey button here to dispense of the needle, and then you're all done. Breakfast, I'm having half a grapefruit. I have some eggs over easy over some New York sausage. It's very clean. There's no garbage ingredients or preservatives in that meat. And then topped with some rainbow microgreens. For lunch, I am having a green smoothie, a little bit of beets, celery, frozen okra, frozen mixed berries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. I have a little bit of raw turmeric, raw ginger, lemon juice, and some Jacinto kale, avocado, and I throw in my powders, spirulina, collagen powder for protein, maca powder, and moringa powder, as well as a scoop of hemp seeds, ground flax, and chia seeds. Some kefir for the probiotics. We are doing sort of a lazy dinner tonight. We got tacos from the local taqueria, Carnitas. I removed the tortillas and swapped them out for butter lettuce. There is some salsa, cilantro, onions, and then I threw on some jalapenos. I also have this yummy little fermented salad here that I got at the store. Very good stuff, no garbage ingredients in that. And then some cauliflower tortilla chips here, also pretty clean ingredients here as well. So I'll be having some salsa with those. Breakfast, the exact same breakfast that I had yesterday actually. Just to go over it again, it's ground New York sausage, no added sugars or garbage in that. Eggs over easy. I also forgot to mention yesterday, I always top my eggs with some nutritional yeast for the B vitamins and a little flavor. And then we have some micro green sprouts, the half grapefruit here. Today I want to try and go for a walk because it's finally not raining, and see how that affects my blood sugar levels. Exercise does help with digestion, especially going for a walk about 10 or 15 minutes post meal. Lunchtime, and this is actually one of my favorite go-to lunches. I decided not to go for the smoothie today. I just felt like eating something savory and delicious. So what I have here is one of my favorite krauts by Wild Brine. It's red beet and cabbage, wild caught sardines and olive oil. On top of that, some red onions, avocado, pumpkin seeds, and then topped off with the everything bagel seasoning. Morning number 3, here's my fasting glucose, and since I actually didn't have dinner last night, I was so tired. I wonder if that's why it's kind of high. For breakfast, since it's a weekend, I decided to make sort of a treat meal. I'm doing a French toast with the Ezekiel bread. One of the healthiest breads you can find. This is a refrigerated bread. Because it doesn't have any preservatives of any kind in it. It's flourless, so it's all grains and goodness. I topped this off with some walnuts and also some yacon syrup instead of maple syrup. So this is a natural plant-based syrup, prebiotic, but also very low glycemic. Lunchtime, I'm having a smoothie today. This is one of my favorites. So in here I have frozen broccoli, celery, a little bit of beets, a little bit of frozen cherries, and a little bit of banana. I'm doing some red kale, parsley, all my usual powders, although I'm doing cacao powder because it goes really well with the banana and cherry. Also having for lunch some Amy's lentil soup, as seen here. Love that they have the light sodium because I add my Himalayan salt, which I know is healthier than what usually comes in condensed soups. I also add peas and carrots and spinach. For dinner, I'm doing an Instant Pot recipe of chicken piccata without the capers, roasted broccoli, and then I just have some spinach and butter lettuce salad here with a little bit of avocado oil and champagne vinaigrette. For breakfast, I'm having 3 fried eggs because I'm especially hungry this morning, topped with my usual nutritional yeast for that nutty, cheesy flavor and the B vitamins. Healthy bacon here, meaning no added sugar, no antibiotics, no preservatives. And then I made some homemade hash browns. Now I'm really curious to see how my blood sugar responds to the potatoes, which I don't normally eat. But the way I make these is I soak them in water for about 30 to 45 minutes, strain them, and then I spin them in the salad spinner. After that, before I cook them, I towel dry them. This process helps to remove a lot of the starches. For lunch, I'm doing a smoothie, frozen peas, a little bit of frozen mixed berries, a teeny tiny tangerine from my mom's tree, half an avocado, red chard, as well as all my standard powders. And this time I'm doing, instead of kefir, I'm doing a plain grass-fed yogurt. Also having for lunch, one of my favorite go-to lunches, butter lettuce tuna wraps. This is a Wild Planet albacore tuna mixed with some avocado mayonnaise, as well as lemon juice, lemon pepper, red onion, celery, topped with some hemp seeds, watermelon radish here with some chipotle bitchin sauce to dip it in. If you don't know this stuff, it is amazing. It is healthy. It is almond and soy based, delicious. They make a lot of flavors. Love that stuff. For dinner, I'm having a super green salad with leftover chicken from last night, some red bell peppers, carrots, cauliflower, and shiitake mushrooms. This is in a olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette, little lemon squeeze on top, some pepper, and some slivered almonds. Breakfast, I'm having scrambled eggs with mixed super greens, red onions, shiitake mushrooms, actually grated Parmesan cheese, and then some healthy turkey deli meat, no antibiotics, no preservatives. Also having for breakfast some yogurt. I do this brand. Sometimes I do sheep's milk, but Costco has this for a good price right now. Really good grass-fed yogurt here, plain, no added sugars or any garbage ingredients in that. I do some fresh pomegranate. I have a scoop of chia seeds, as well as some vanilla extract and sunflower seeds. Did not feel like making a smoothie today, and so for lunch, I'm having just sort of a smorgasbord of snacks. I have the Mary's seed crackers here. Pretty clean ingredients in those. Really like those. In fact, Sierra loves those. Watermelon, squash, avocado. These are fermented green beans here, hot and spicy. Very good. No garbage ingredients in those. Some raw beets. I think this is a golden winter squash. I just steamed it in some bone broth, mixed it with some butter, cinnamon, and salt. And then speaking of bone broth, I'm having a cup of homemade bone broth that I made not too long ago, chicken broth, and dipping my veggies in the bitchin sauce, which I shared yesterday. Super tired tonight, so doing a really easy dinner. I had a couple of these Open Nature broccoli crust pizzas in the freezer. Pretty clean ingredients, actually. It looks like a lot, which it is, but for the most part, it's fairly minimally processed compared to most frozen dinners. So there wasn't much chicken on it, so I added some leftover chicken, some black olives, and some red onions, and I'm just going to be eating this with some raw greens on the side. Breakfast, same as yesterday, just without the turkey because I don't have any more left, and half a grapefruit. Having a smoothie today for lunch. A little bit of frozen broccoli, frozen okra, teeny tiny bit of banana, a little bit of a tangerine here from my mom's tree, parsley, collard greens today, the usual powders, avocado, and my kefir. And just wanted to show the kefir I use. I tried to go for the goat milk kefir here whenever I can, plain of course, in my effort to avoid cow's milk, and has a very, very healthy array of probiotics and active cultures. No garbage ingredients in that, very clean. With my smoothie, I'm also having some homemade tamales that were given to us. Decided to do one without the corn. I'm really curious to see how the corn will affect my blood sugar. Topped with some healthy sour cream and some medium spice salsa. Having that Mexican style fermented vegetable salad here and those hot and spicy fermented green beans as well. Dinner, I marinated some wild-caught salmon in a soy sauce, which I use here, coconut aminos, with a little bit of hoisin. Pretty clean here, no garbage in that. Also lime juice, fresh ginger, fresh garlic, and brown monk fruit sugar. I have a little bit of brown rice. Normally I do cauliflower rice, but I'm really curious to see how the rice is going to affect my blood sugar. So I'm gonna test that out. Some steamed green beans that I steamed in bone broth mixed with toasted sesame oil and then that everything bagel seasoning. And then just some sauteed shiitake mushrooms in fish sauce and a little bit of butter. And then I'm just gonna have some raw greens on the side. For breakfast, I'm having fried eggs topped with nutritional yeast as usual, on top of some bacon, on top of these cauliflower sandwich thins. I like to use them as kind of a hash brown substitute for breakfast. Really clean ingredients in these. It's mostly just cauliflower, eggs, Parmesan nutritional yeast. We're also having for breakfast some of that plain grass-fed yogurt mixed with some vanilla extract. I made it much prettier this time so you can see all of what's in it. A scoop of chia seeds, some fresh pomegranate that I peeled the other day, sunflower seeds, and then today I added some pumpkin seeds. The last time I had this, I felt full for most of the day, and I do believe that was a result of the chia seeds because they do expand to 3 times their size in your stomach, leaving you feeling satiated. Today's lunch, I'm doing a pho style soup with some homemade chicken broth. I'm using these kelp noodles that I found on Amazon. Pretty good ingredients, pretty clean, good source of iodine there. I got shrimp in here, jalapenos, green onions, basil, mung bean sprouts, and then I put in this delicious, healthy probiotic sriracha. This is the healthiest sriracha I've been able to find. It is a refrigerated item, but it is very pure and very delicious. Love the probiotics. And then this healthy hoisin sauce that I used for my marinade last night. Really good stuff as well, very clean. Tonight's dinner, I'm having lamb rib chops covered in a butter mixture that I made of minced garlic and fresh rosemary, and then some roasted vegetables here, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, and then just some plain raw greens on the side. Blood sugar hack number 1. So I actually took these during my last pregnancy for the self-testing and found them to be very effective, given my results were very, very good. So I decided I'd try these again. I was just coming down from the holidays at the time of my testing, so I started taking these about 2 weeks beforehand. The brand is Host Defense Micro Botanicals, all natural herb and mushroom based here. This is already for blood sugar levels that are within the normal range. Just to go over everything that's in here, we have maitake, reishi, and chaga, all mushrooms that help to support blood sugar levels already within the normal range. And I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but I'm just gonna say Jemima. This helps to support pancreatic function. And then cinnamon helps to promote a healthy glycemic balance. And then bilberry promotes metabolic wellness. From my understanding, all of these things are safe to take while pregnant, but you definitely want to consult your physician before you take any such medicinals. Blood sugar hack number 2. Adding some cinnamon to your morning coffee or beverage. So I always keep a little bit of cinnamon here, and I go ahead and add about half a teaspoon or so. Cinnamon helps to regulate blood sugar levels because it imitates the effect of insulin, therefore increasing insulin's sensitivity, allowing it to work more efficiently. Adding some cinnamon to your beverages or your meals throughout the day is a great way to help balance your blood sugars. Hack number 3, go for a walk shortly after eating a meal. Studies show that walking for as little as 2 minutes can help to mitigate blood sugar fluctuations, also activating the thigh and glute muscles require the most glucose, so you will draw up more glucose from the blood once you activate those muscle groups. So I recommend a 10 to 30 minute walk if you can swing it. Hack number 4, diluting a tablespoon or so of apple cider vinegar into a glass of water. Apple cider vinegar helps to slow the release of food from the stomach into the intestine, but also slows down the absorption of carbohydrates into the blood. And then I like to add about a half a squeeze of lemon juice, not only for the cleansing and detoxifying benefits, but just for a little bit of a refreshing flavor added to it. So ideally, you'd want to have this either before or after a meal to help better regulate your blood sugar. Hack number 5, incorporating probiotic foods into your daily diet. Probiotics promote gut-friendly microbiota, which helps to balance the good and bad bacteria in your gut, allowing for optimal gut functioning and digestion. Studies suggest they play a role in improving insulin resistance, especially the strains Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus have been shown to be effective at controlling your glycemic status. So these are the probiotic foods that I always keep in my fridge no matter what. I absolutely love this Wild brand. They do various flavors and styles of sauerkrauts and a couple kimchis. Also, they make a great probiotic sriracha, which I love. I put it on tacos and on Asian foods. Love this Farmhouse Culture Gut Shot. They also make different varieties and flavors. And then these are my dairy products. I usually do goat milk for my yogurt and kefir. Generally use the kefir in my smoothies or maybe with some granola. Same thing with the yogurt. It'll go in my smoothies, or I'll have it for breakfast with a little fruit, a little granola. I'm German. I love having sour cream with my potato pancakes. Also use it on Mexican foods, but also incorporate it into a lot of baking. These are just a few of some probiotic food options. I know there's a lot more other stuff out there, especially becoming more available and prevalent nowadays. So if you're looking to help regulate that blood sugar, add some of these foods into your daily diet. Hack number 6, swapping out low glycemic alternatives for sugar. Low glycemic meaning it has very little to no effect on your blood sugar, and in fact will probably likely keep your blood sugar on the lower end versus creating a big spike. So I have white monk fruit sugar here and brown, great alternatives to granular sugar. I only use these in very little amounts in either baking or in some oatmeal or things like that. And then a great liquid alternative here is stevia. They do make different flavors. So I have a cinnamon vanilla. I like to put these in my tea and my coffee on the occasion that I have that sweet tooth for it. And then a great alternative to syrups and honey is yakan syrup. So all of these are great alternatives and definitely worth a try. Before I end this video, I just want to share a few more tips, some dietary do's and don'ts to help protect you against high blood sugar spikes. The don'ts: avoid white carbohydrates such as flour, sugar, rice, and potatoes. Avoid liquid sugar such as soda, juice, and sweetened beverages. Limit or avoid high glycemic fruits such as bananas, grapes, pineapple, and watermelon. Limit or avoid high glycemic veggies such as sweet potatoes, beets, carrots, squash, and corn. All right, the do's.
Eat plenty of non-starchy vegetable fiber such as leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables. Eat healthy fats such as extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil. Consume fats and proteins before carbohydrates. And stay hydrated. Drink at least 3 liters of water per day. That concludes my video for self-testing for gestational diabetes. I hope the documentation of my personal experience was informative and even perhaps enlightening for you to pursue the same alternative method. I do believe it is a very natural and healthy way to go about this process. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.